Hi, and welcome back to the Healthy Aging Network. I'm Kathy Tutt, and today we're going to be talking about social isolation and social connection. So please stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back to the Healthy Aging Network. I'm Kathy Tutt, and today we're going to be talking about social isolation and social connection and the importance that it plays in our health. Today, I'm joined with Lorrissa Dunfee, who is an educator with Ohio State University Extension. So welcome, Lorrissa, and I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Kathy. I am the family consumer science educator in Belmont County, and aging is one of my specializations. So when the Surgeon General come out with this report, I thought that it was an interesting opportunity to share some of the information that was set forth in it.
Can you talk a little bit about this? So, the U.S. Surgeon General's advisory on the healing effects of social connection and community was just recently released. And that report noted that loneliness and isolation as an epidemic and shared the need for social connection. Is this really something that we should be concerned about?
Well, the short answer is yes, but here are some reasons why. In 2020, the U.S. Surgeon General began sharing information on this topic. In his book, Dr. Vivek Murthy released a book called Together, The Healing Power of Human Connection is a Sometimes Lonely World. And he wrote, quote, "During my years caring for patients, the most common condition I saw was not heart disease or diabetes, it was loneliness," unquote. Research continues to support that this is an issue that needs attention. In a study in 2022, they found that when people were asked how close they felt to others emotionally, only 39% of adults in the US said they felt very connected to others. And recent surveys have found that approximately half of all US adults report experiencing loneliness, with some of the highest rates among young adults. However, less than 20% of individuals who often or always feel lonely or isolated recognize it as a major health problem. Typically, in that older generation, they just see it as a normal part of aging.
So we know that social connection is important. So can you tell me what exactly is social connection?
Sure. It is a basic human need, just like food, water, and shelter. It's essential for a person's health and well-being, and it encompasses those interactions, relationships, roles, and a sense of connection.
So are there different components of social connection that we should be aware of?
Yeah, there are. According to the Surgeon General's report, there are three vital components of social connection, including structure, function, and quality. Just to break this down a little bit, the structure refers to the number of relationships and the variety of relationships. So, coworkers, friends, family, neighbors, and also the frequency of interactions with others. So, how many people are in your household, your friend size circle, your marital or partnership status are all examples of that structure. And then function, it refers to the degree to which others can be relied upon for various needs. So some examples of function would be someone having that emotional support, maybe a mentorship, or support in a crisis situation. And then the quality refers to the degree to which relationships and interactions with others are positive, helpful, satisfying, all that, whether it's negative or positive, helpful or unhelpful. And some examples would be your relationship satisfaction, whatever relationship that might be, if there's a strain on the relationship, and then social inclusion or the exclusion.
So I can see how this really relates to, many older adults, especially when it comes to that structure, right? The number of relationships when you lose a spouse or your family moves away, Your house that was so full and vibrant at one time, maybe you might feel a little bit empty. And
Right.
so it's really important, right, that we talk about this and how we can find those connections and stay involved and develop that social connections.
Right.
Um,
Or as we age, we oftentimes lose our friends to death or to bad physical health, and they're unable to get out. And so it is an important issue.
yeah, absolutely. So, Larissa, what else should we know when it comes to social connection?
Well, I think a couple things to keep in mind include viewing it as a continuum, and everyone falls somewhere on that continuum. It will either low social connection, generally being associated with poor health outcomes, or higher social connection with better health outcomes. So social connection is fluid. It can change over time due to life circumstances, like we just talked about with illness, maybe moves, transitions, or changes in someone's community or society. So that's the good thing about it. That our social connections are fluid and they do change. And so, if we're on that low end, we can improve our social connections.
Well, gosh, it makes me think about the telecast that we did recently on emotional retirement and that loss of your connections at work, your loss of friendships. And so I could see how, social isolation could happen once people retire as well, could lead to that.
Right.
So can you tell me, what are some of the current trends when it comes to social connection and loneliness?
Well, this is interesting, I think, because from 2003 to 2020, time spent alone increased, while time spent on in-person engagements decreased. So if you look at that chart there, you can definitely see a difference in socialization. Um, just even an increase of 24 hours per month, and then and that social isolation. So over a month's period, decreasing your interactions with others by 24 hours, that's pretty significant. And then some of the other statistics there look at household, family, social engagement, but all these are decreases. Companionship, social engagement with friends, those outside the household social engagements, and then just general social engagements with others. But overall, there's been a steady decrease for each of those. And so that's where this connection is lacking. People are being less and less, or are being isolated more and more, I guess, and not having those social connections.
Yeah, I wonder what the statistics show now, especially after COVID forced everyone into, out of social connection and being home and quarantined at the house. I wonder, and I'm sure it's leading even more to this epidemic that we have.
I would say, this information come directly from the surgeon's report. So I'm sure that they're collecting that data, and there'll be some information coming out later, that will look at that, because we were forced to isolate, right? And some of us got comfortable with that, I think.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the seniors, you and I both, we did a lot of online webinars and those types of things. And our seniors are like, no more. We want it in person. We want to see people, be around people. And so I think it's kind of neat that they are leading the charge to this of staying and being connected. It's something that we really need to attach to and share that, more widely.
Right. I think it's been easier for the younger generations to stay isolated, because they've had that more so just in their environment growing up to this point. So,
Yeah.
but it is an issue we're seeing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So, Lorrissa, can you tell me, are there things that can lead us to be more socially connected?
there are several factors that can shape social connection, including individual relationship and also our community or society in general. So some of the factors are listed there on the screen. Individual factors that can shape our social connection. Of course, we've mentioned illnesses or diseases, but there's also like our sensory and functional impairments, maybe our state of mental health, our personality in general, and then also some other things that someone might not think about directly, but our race, our gender, our socioeconomic status, and what stage of life we may be in. And then as far as our relationship, just our structure, function, and quality of and our household size, and then empathy, which that's a whole nother telecast we could do, right? On just empathy. And then of course, our community and our society, our communities, how much outdoor space do they have? How much opportunity is there to be outside and connect with others? Housing options, our schools, our workplaces, our local businesses, the community organizations, our healthcare, transportation. So lots of different factors go into how connected we can stay within our communities. And the same is true for society. What are the norms and what are societal values where we are? What are the public policies? Are there opportunities for civic engagement? Those kinds of things all affect that social isolation or the opportunity for social connection.
I look at your list and all I can think of is when you're talking about the community is also safe environments for people to be out in, right? Finding that
Definitely.
safe, that we can feel comfortable to be out there.
Definitely.
So can you tell me, are there certain groups that are at higher risk for social disconnection?
Well, anyone at any age can certainly experience loneliness and isolation, but there are certain groups at higher risk than others. And current studies find the highest prevalence for the loneliness and isolation among people with poor health, both physical and mental, disabled, those who are financially insecure, individuals who live alone, single parents, as well as younger and older populations. So, for example, while the highest rates of social isolations are found among older adults, young adults are almost twice as likely to report feeling lonely than those over 65. So the rate of loneliness among young adults has increased every year between 1976 and 2019. And in addition, lower income adults are more likely to be lonely than those with higher incomes, which I think that's an interesting concept too, looking at those disparities in socioeconomic status, how we are socially connected we are.
I think that is really interesting. And I don't know if it's because people with lower income may be working more hours, or they may feel like you have to have money to go out and be socially connected, which is not a factor at all. You can do things at no cost with family. So I do think that is really important. How does this epidemic that we're talking about, this loneliness epidemic, how does the social connection, how does that impact our communities?
It does impact an individual's health and well-being, and impacts our communities. And so not only does it impact an individual's health, it can impact communities. And the lack of social connection poses a significant risk for individual health and longevity. Loneliness and social isolation increase the risk for premature death by 26 and 29% respectively. Lacking social connection can increase the risk for premature death as much as smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. When I saw that, I was a little bit alarmed because a pack of cigarettes we know is 20 cigarettes. So, social connection is so important because it puts us at risk for that premature death, just like if we were smoking cigarettes, which, is just shocking. But poor, insufficient social connection is associated with increased risk of disease, including 29% increased risk of heart disease and 32% risk of stroke. It's also associated with diabetes, infectious diseases, anxiety, depression, and dementia. And it may lead to an increased susceptibility to viruses and respiratory issues. So I don't know that I really thought about the power of social connection. I am a people person. I enjoy being around people. And I guess I never really thought about the importance or how much of an influence it does have on our physical and mental health. And so I kind of, read this report and really sat down and looked at the statistics and the research. So it is something that definitely we need to have that social connection in our lives.
So what is the impact then on our communities, not just individually, but on our communities as well?
Social isolation among older adults alone accounts for an estimated $6.7 billion in excess Medicare spending annually. And that's largely due to an increased hospital and nursing facility spending. But it also looks at lower academic achievement and worse performance at work can be experienced because of that loneliness. In the US, stress-related absenteeism attributed to loneliness costs employers an estimated $154 billion annually. So, again, it's impacting our individual selves and it's impacting our community and our society.
Those numbers are just staggering.
Right.
We know that this is important. Social connection is so important. So are there ways that we can work to enhance that social connection so that we can enjoy all of the benefits of being connected with others?
That is good news. The Office of U.S. Surgeon General introduced a plan called the 6 Pillars to Advance Social Connection. And the report looks at how individuals, organizations, communities, and society can increase and strengthen these connections. So we're going to look at some of the suggestions for individuals, but if someone's curious about how other groups can take action, they can refer to the Surgeon General's report. But we'll just focus on those individual opportunities. And again, that social connection is going to impact or can impact our relationships with others, our health, and our overall well-being. So some of the ways that the Surgeon General has listed is invest time in nurturing your relationships through consistent, frequent, and high quality engagement with others. So, maybe join a club organization that meets regularly. Participate if you are older, participate in your senior centers or some kind of activities, maybe volunteering, but making sure that you kind of schedule those opportunities where you are going to be with others. Take time each day to reach out to a friend or family member. So even if you can't be there, in their presence, at least give them a call on the phone or touch base some way. Minimize distraction during conversation to increase the quality of time you spend with others. So, don't be checking your phone during your meals with your friends, or during important conversations or during family time. I have a rule at my table. If you're sitting at the table, there's no phones allowed, so that we have that connection.
We call our kitchen table at home a no phone zone. So,
yep. Because, and even like the TV, when it's on, if there's, because we have an open floor plan, I shut that TV down because it disrupts that connection or opportunity for connection. Seek out opportunities to serve and support others, either by helping your family or your coworkers, friends, strangers in the community, or by participating in those community service events. Pick something that's of interest to you, though, and get involved. Be responsive, supportive, and practice gratitude. We just had Thanksgiving, a time to be thankful for those things we have or opportunities that we've been given. And so I think carrying that out throughout the year, being of a thankful heart and displaying gratitude, practicing those behaviors can be helpful in improving our social connections and developing relationships. If you're a negative Nelly, you don't attract a lot of people who want to be around you. Actively engage with people of different backgrounds and experiences to expand your understanding of relationships with others and give the benefits associated with diverse connections. Step outside your comfort zone, challenge yourself to take on learning about new individuals and their relationship, building that relationship with them. Participate in social and community groups. Maybe there's a fitness group, or you're part of a church. There's a hobby that you can take up. Maybe there's professional organizations that you can join, or community service organizations, but just being a part of something so you gain that sense of belonging and sense of purpose.
Next one really just kind of gets to me, because we think about these social media sites as intended as a way for us to connect with other people. But however, I think we're finding it's doing something completely opposite. So I'm going to let you take it from there, because this one just really stood out to me.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Reduce practices that lead to feelings of disconnection from others. So this may include harmful and excessive social media use, time spent in unhealthy relationships, and disproportionate time in front of screens instead of people. Years ago, my daughter, when she had friends at the house, oftentimes they would not say a word out loud to each other, but they were texting each other on their phones. And I was so confused, because I said, why do you need to be together if you're not going to communicate any other way except through the phone? So, check yourself with your screen time, and it can be a great tool to use if you can't get out and connect, but we don't want it to be our only way of connecting. And we want to seize those opportunities where we can be face to face with others. And then seek help during times, when you're struggling with loneliness or isolation. Sometimes we need to make sure that we're keeping that connection, even when we maybe feel like we don't want to. Those are the times to reach out to our friends and family members. And if you're feeling really down and out, making sure that you have that 988 crisis text line or crisis hotline. You can call it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and someone's going to answer. And maybe all you need is just a voice, someone on the other end to talk to you for a bit. But, there's always someone available there. And then be open with your healthcare provider about any social changes in your life. This may help them understand potential health impacts and guide them to provide recommendations to mitigate your health risk. And then make time for those civic engagements, something that, again, if you are inclined to get involved in any town halls or be a part of the school board or go to the meetings, maybe, you want to go to town council meetings, whatever that is, if that's an interest, there's opportunities to explore that. And then reflect the core values of connection and how you approach others in conversation and through your actions. Key questions to ask yourself when considering your interactions with others might be, how might kindness change the situation? What would it look like to treat others with respect? How can I be of service? How can I reflect my concern for and commitment to others? And I think that being aware of this public health issue and the potential risks to ourselves, to our communities, and to our society, we can start taking small steps daily to strengthen and build our social connections. I think it's good that the Surgeon General is shedding light on the impact that lack of social connection has on ourselves and on our communities.
This is great information. I keep looking through and looking at all of your points that you have, and I always think about extension and how many opportunities we have for people to volunteer. It doesn't even matter your age, your ability, what your likes or dislikes are. There's always somewhere that we can go and find something for you to do, whether it be stuffing envelopes, whether it be working in a garden, working with youth on sewing projects or cooking projects, or helping us, family consumer science educators, delivering some of our programs. There are just so many opportunities to be connected, to be using your brain, and to reap those benefits of that social connection. Thank you so much, Lorrissa. Do you have any other words of wisdom or advice that you would like to give for us here?
No, I was just going to add on to what you said, Kathy, because it's true. We have a lot of opportunities for volunteering. And I think we also have a lot of opportunities in general for people to be connected by the programs that we offer. We have a lot of different diverse opportunities for people. And so if you're not familiar with Extension, reach out to your local Extension office and see what kind of programs they have. And maybe that's an opportunity to start to build those relationships and connections too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of both of us, we offer so many different things, from bingo size, which is our exercise and bingo class that we do in person at different community sites. We do our WITS workout programs that we do. Help me out here. I'm trying to think of all of the other ones that we do. We do a matter of balance, Tai Chi.
Tai Chi. We have a laughter yoga. That's a newer one that I'm doing. So there's a lot of food safety that other people do, different cooking classes and stuff. So there are tons of opportunities within your county extension office as well.
Right.
But
and one way that you can reach us is if you put in your county and then .osu.edu, that will take you to our county website. So for example, if you're reaching me, it would be clark.osu.edu in your search engine, and then you'll be able to pull up our website, and there's information on how to connect us and even some of the programs that we offer. And Lorrissa is belmont.osu.edu.
And thank you so much, Kathy, for giving me the opportunity to come on and talk about this important information from the U.S. Surgeon General.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.